The Act of 1871 was repealed. July 3, 2020 by Anna von Reitz. The Act of 1871 was indeed passed in 1871. Repealed in 1874. Then by piecemeal finally revived and passed in 1877, implemented in 1878. And it had precious little to do with us, as it was actually a restructuring of one of the foreign federal subcontractors to better avoid culpability for and to profit from crimes that the same guilty parties had already committed against us. After the Civil War, the victorious Union Army that fought for the Northern Confederation reorganized what was left of the Federal Territorial Government to settle the bankruptcy Lincoln started in 1863, which he declared the day after he issued the first ever executive order, General Order 100. Among other things, prior to the Act of 1871, a Scottish commercial corporation merely calling itself the United States of America, Incorporated, foisted off its corporate Articles of Incorporation as the Constitution in 1868. So they formed a substitute entity, a foreign commercial corporation, named it after us, and started doing business in our names, impersonating us and illegally accessing our assets and credit, starting in 1868. And in 1871, they began this same process of impersonation for the District of Columbia, by creating the District of Columbia Municipal Corporation. Call me old-fashioned, but the switcheroo that took place in 1868 is what should be of most concern to us as Americans, and only secondarily should the corollary fraud taking place in the District of Columbia concern us. In both cases, the actual government was usurped and our assets seized upon illegally and unlawfully via members of the U.S. Congress pretending to represent us, and all operated under conditions of non-disclosure, fraud, breach of trust, and deceit. To put it bluntly, instead of functioning as our fiduciary deputies in the office we defined for them, these post-Civil War reprobates evaded that responsibility and began operating as trustees of our state assets, and as our purported proxies voting for us in their own corporate shareholder elections. And they never told us a word about all these arrangements being made for us and in our names. The actual American government was thus bypassed and settled into dormancy while our employees contrived to become our masters, literally. Yes, the Act of 1871 is a window on the process of this criminality overtaking a foreign subcontractor of ours, but that's hardly our concern. A subcontractor of ours could choose to reorganize its own internal affairs and decide to incorporate its business, and it's no skin off our noses, is it? What is really important about the Act of 1871 is that it shows what went on in Scotland and America in 1868. And all without our knowledge or permission. Links to Anna's articles and resources can be found in the video description box. Thank you for subscribing, liking and sharing.